In Big Mama's house, was Martin Lawrence engaging in some sort of black fat shaming face sexist stereotyping of black women? So there's been some recent activity in the entertainment industry with the whole signaling and and just absurdity, where you have certain voice actors who are quitting their job, the places that are being recast because they're not a person of color. For example, there'll be like some cartoon or some animation, and one of the characters, I think like a black trans female character or something in some show that I don't watch, is being recast because the voice actor isn't. I think there was a character in The Simpsons. Who was it? I don't know who. The Simpsons is still going on, which is to me just wow. I don't know. Is anyone still who's still watching it? Who has been watching it? Who has been watching it for a while? Or maybe you just started watching it. But is there anyone who was watching it who's a bit older, who's been watching it for at least 20 years? How different is the show now? But there's I think a character in The Simpsons. I don't think it was Abu because I think it might have actually been Abu. Abu has finally gotten the second hit because his first hit was just talking about how it was kind of racist. And again, the definition of racist is entirely different, people. It was like a racial stereotyping, profiling type of thing or something to have him be at the Quickie Mart and things like that. I think it was like, wasn't it like Hank Azaria was doing his voice or something? And then now there's a character who, it was Cleveland. And the person who voiced Cleveland from Family Guy, who I think had a spin off show called The Cleveland Show that I think got canceled, the Family Guy is still going on, is not a POC. He's not a person of color. He's not a black. He's not a descendant of slaves, an American descendant of slaves, as they say with the ADOS movement. So this man bravely and stunningly has resigned from this position to make room for an appropriate casting. I had a separate video where I was talking about the Black Panther movie, and I did this African voice, and I said, you know, this Black Panther thing, they are talking about how we need more white people in a Black Panther. But Black Panther is based in Africa. So we do not need white people. It is not for white people. So why are they complaining? But instead I look at the actual cast and I see that these are not Africans. These are people who are living in Europe, Chadwick Boseman. These are people who are living in United States of America. Maybe Lupita Nyong'o, they are saying she came from Kenya, but she is not. She has left Kenya. And I look at the filming. It is not filming. Is not in Africa. We do not have cameras in Africa. We do not have land in Africa. We do not have sun, water, and these things. We do not have computer. You cannot do computer generated. So I was talking about how with this kind of absurdity, you have someone like Beyonce who apparently was getting gruff for having sang songs on the new Lion King soundtrack. I'm like, yeah, what they should have actually gone and gotten African actual artists, especially East African artists, because Lion King, from the setting, the theoretical setting of the actual movie, is somewhere in East Africa. So should they have actually gotten East African? So it's talking about they need to get to the point now where if you have an actual character, you're going to have to find an actor that is as close to that character in the real world to actually be cast to that person. You're going to have to really go down. If somebody has a backstory where they're an orphan in the actual movie, it is going to be offensive and you might get canceled if you actually give that job to an actor or an actress that has both parents. When there was another actor or actress that applied for it or that is available that is an orphan. Like that actor's lived experience is going to overspread. So when you talk about something like people getting canceled for blackface, this recent one with Alyssa Milano. Alyssa Milano is now talking about how cancel culture is being used by Trump and Putin, or the alt-right and Putin. And Putin! She actually put Putin in her tweet, talking about that it's being used to get at the biggest the biggest critics of Trump. And people were posting this thing that she did of supposed blackface because now Snooki from this show called Jersey Shore can actually be involved in blackface. It's just hilarious. It's hilarious what's going on. And they're posting these things. There's this one thing We'll put it up on the screen. It's her talking to Joe Biden. It's like, oh, you're not black, and Joe Biden's saying this, and then she votes for him, and then it's the next picture of her with the snooky face. It's done her black because she voted for Joe Biden. When people are being canceled for this, you have Jimmy Kimmel coming out with supposed non-apologies about his being like Carmelo, and then people just getting overly sensitive about these things. So, but then there's things like the movie. There's a movie White Girls where the Wayans brothers put on these white women suits and things like this, and I don't think that's going to be an issue. Because white women, I think, the Karens kind of thing, it terms like Karen. I don't think Karen is a race specific thing. It may have originated as a race specific thing, but there's Karens all over the place. Just like that other 6-letter N word. We have seen certain behavior from people in the rioters that are that 6-letter N word. We've seen that is not a purely racial thing anymore. Like even people who were even the group, black people who that name was used to, they use that word as even a term of endearment to non-black people because it is something that goes against when you're using it as a term of endearment. When you're using it as something negative, it also goes to other people. So anyway, but white women are not protected in this kind of sense. But if it's negative for a non-black person to put on a face, is it going to be Dave Chappelle skit where he puts white face on? He's that news reporter and he reports the news. Is that going to be considered a negative thing? Are the Wayans brothers going to be canceled because of that? Are they going to have to come with apologies? I don't know. Because that's not necessarily a protected group in that sense when it comes to depiction in that way. When it comes to changing the actual races, people like in the Hamilton. I saw this thing in Hamilton talking about it has a representation problem. It was like diverse because they changed all the races of the people, but it still has a representation problem. I don't know if this comes with like gender or like, oh, there's not enough trans actors. I don't know what it was. I didn't actually read the article. I'm not going to. Don't need this kind of carcinogens. Well, but coming back to this, with Martin Lawrence, black people are an actual protected group when it comes to blackface. When he put on something that covered his face to make him look something else, was it his actual skin complexion? If he makes himself darker or lighter type of black, is that actual blackface? When you put on makeup to make yourself look like a certain black person, and for sure it was a fat, large black woman, a black mom, big black mamas, and he was doing the physical comedy and all this, is that fat shaming? Is that putting on a fat suit where he's adding that? Was it a stereotype of what your big mama type of black woman is? Was that a stereotype? It was a comedy. It was mocking that. So is he going to be canceled? Are you going to start canceling people like Eddie Murphy, if Eddie Murphy's still in play, for the Doolittles, Dr. Doolittle and things like that? Are you going to start going after people like Key and Peele? Well, these are the people who do these kind of skit shows. Are those people going to be people who are going to be like, oh, you can't dress up as a woman anymore. You're taking a job away from a big woman. They could have found an actual actress that was large-bodied and had her play that position of Big Mama. They could have even said that this person on screen is playing a character that you should actually think is Martin Lawrence's male character wearing a suit as an actual woman, but instead it be an actual black female of different weight actress that is pretending to be a man in a fat suit. That woman could have gotten that job. But because Martin Lawrence, with his male chauvinist wanting to make fun of black culture, decided it'd be better for him to actually put on the suit, that was going to be a thing. Well, anyway, there's also a cool thing on the news, on the media type of thing. I've seen like some robots about to star in a movie. There was that one really cool movie I liked called One. I think it was with Al Pacino, where there was like some kind of created digital character, entirely digital character, Simone or something. I think I think the movie was called Simone, but it was spelled with a one or something. But she was a complete just CGI created character with a personality on social media and everything and whatnot. And we're getting towards that. I think it's going to be better. We're going to have more CGI. The cost of that's going to drop. It's going to be robots. There's going to be like more creation. That's a field I want to get into. And anyway, so just let me know what you think about this. How far do you think this is going to go? I think I just don't know how much further some of these things can go. It seems to be at the end of the actual time. I think part of this is the change of a zeitgeist with this pandemic coming in. With I already mentioned with thinking that even someone like Trump coming in and being able to break down the media and being some kind of focal point for the different things that people were observing and in giving voice to both people who felt they weren't being heard enough and both people for both reasons. Some people felt, oh, we're struggling, we're not being heard enough, we've been forgotten. Some people felt there's issues coming up that other people are not noticing that we need to focus on. And Trump has been somebody, for example, this is just one example of the many things that have been able to do this, to look at this and say, look, that's the problem we're talking about. This is how we can do it. And then some other people say, look, that's the kind of person we're talking about that's focusing on things that people have been forgetting. So there's different things happen for the same reasons. And I think the same reason is humanity itself is about to actually change and upgrade, level up to the next level, yet it's happening in different ways. So I think part of this is us dropping these older ways of thinking about doing things and then now jumping onto new ways. We're trying out new ideas and like, okay, maybe that we'll stop with it because Alyssa Milano was right. Leave Alyssa Milano alone. Don't cancel her for the Snooki thing. Snooki's a protected class now. Snooki of all people who almost everyone who had heard of Snooki used to mock her in a way. Even I think her supporters used to mock her for that Jersey Shore thing. It was something like people liked and enjoyed to mock it. It was like trash TV. It was like junk TV type of thing. But now she's a protected class. And I feel I'm laughing because Alyssa Milano was part of the people who started these things. She's the one who kind of turned this in. And then the Tara Reid came out with the accusation towards Joe Biden. She was such a supporter of Joe Biden that she was like, maybe we don't have to like believe all women. We just have to listen to all women. And then now, with following the Me Too for so long, finally it's come around to her. And then she's like, Me Too? Yes, Alyssa. You let go of this kind of beast, and then you too. Well, anyway, like, share, subscribe. Till next time, I appreciate you taking your time. How far do you think this is going to go? I do think we're at the end of the rope on some of these things, specifically when it comes to this, like, people being canceled or the casting type of thing. Yeah, that's it for now. I appreciate you taking your time.